thank you for joining me again here today at Digital Renovations. Today we are going to be taking a look further down the line of Stripe. We're going to be taking a look at payment intents, how we're going to be able to create a payment intent, how we're going to be able to handle webhooks around payment intents. We'll take a sneak peek at Stripe's CLI tool that we're able to use for helping us along this journey. We're going to save confirming payment intents to a future video, as you sort of need to build in a full front end for that step of the process, but we're going to bookend it. So let's jump into it. Let's start with our project setup. So I got a nice little file folder setup going on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a virtual environment for us. So this isn't necessary, strictly speaking, but it's good best practice. So we'll go Python-m venv virtual environment. We're going to call this PaymentIntent-env. It's going to do some thinking, and then we're done. So let's run that. So we'll go source PaymentIntent-env /bin/ oh, those aren't slashes. Cheeky buttons on a keyboard. Bin / activate. Hit enter. Wonderful. We can see that we're now in our environment because it's got our environment name. Next thing we're going to do, we need to install a few nice little libraries. So we're going to add Flask for our API management, Stripes software development kit. We're also going to use Python-dotenv so we can handle environment files. So last time you saw I had a file set up that I just called a function and pulled out the environment keys. There's probably not the right way of doing things. An environment key is probably much more in alignment with the correct approach. So let's install some stuff. Let's go pip install Flask Stripe Python-dotenv. Enter. And it's going to run through and do its downloading. Perfect. And good news, my version of pip is out of date. Not an issue though. Let's get started. So now we're going to write a bit of code. We're going to have our server set up over here. We're going to import our library. So we're going to import OS. That's going to help us to handle our environment properties. As I said, we've got .env as well, but that's not the whole picture. We go from Flask, import Flask, request, and JSONify, however you want to pronounce it. From .env, import load_.env. And using this, we're going to be able to bring in our .env file. Lastly, we're going to bring in import Stripe. We're good. All right. Next thing we're going to do, we'll go load_.env. That's going to look where we are now. And grab this env file I've got saved here. We're going to create our app. So we'll go app equals Flask __name __. There we go. All right. So now we've got our app set up. Now we're going to pull from our environment our API key. So we'll go stripe.api_key is equal to OS, so we needed the OS bit, .get env. Excellent. Now within that we will go stripe_secret_key. So our Stripe secret key is going to be equal to whatever we set Stripe's secret key as being in our environment file. I'm going to jump down here and just go if name equals main, then we want app to run port 5000. That means that we'll be able to hit localhost port 5000 with API calls to our app. So we're also going to need to set up a .env file. So right now I have nothing in here. What I'm going to have is secret key equals, and then whatever my secret key is equal to. And now I've entered that back in privately while no one was looking. Through the power of the pause button on recording, we are good to continue. So we've got our secret key set up. Let's start looking at creating an API endpoint for us to be able to actually handle requests to create a payment intent. So I'm going to create a route or an endpoint for payment intents. Payment intent is Stripe's way of tracking an entire payment lifecycle. So every time a customer checks out, you create one of these. It's not the payment itself, it's more like framework that encapsulates a payment. It's a little house that the payment lives in as it goes through its life cycle. So let's create one. Well, not create payment intent, let's create a route. At app.route, I'm going to call it create payment intent, and it's going to be a post call methods equals post. So we're saying, hey, make something when I send you this. Then we're going to have a function def create payment intent for what we do when we hit our route. And when we do that, we're going to say try get the data. So data equals request.get underscore JSON. I'm going to say our intent is equal to stripe.paymentintent.create. I'm going to say our amount is equal to data amount, so whatever amount value we send in the API call. It's measured in cents. We're going to say currency equals AUD, and we're going to have our automatic payment methods set to enabled. True. Now, what the hell does that mean? That tells Stripe's front end, when it's going through this payment lifecycle, that it can decide what payment methods to offer. So rather than you manually specifying, I want credit card, I want PayPal, I want whatever else you want, this says, hey, work out what this person could possibly pay with. So factors in things like where they are in the world, and presents options to them that can facilitate your payment. So you don't need to manually spell it out, and Stripe maximizes the opportunity that a valid payment method for that user is going to be offered. So we've got the makings of our intent. We go return, just sonify, client secret intent.client underscore secret. Now, what that's going to do is when we get a response back from Stripe creating this payment intent, there's going to be a key that needs to go to the front end. And the front end uses that to continue the payments lifecycle. So right now we're saying, hey, when we do this thing, we're going to have a return value, and it's going to be the client secret. Now, that's some of the most important bits. But what about our scenarios? So we go except exception as E, return, JSONify, error equals str E, and a 400 status code. Perfect. So that's just saying, hey, if something goes wrong, pretty much anything, send a JSON-based response back of the error is equal to, or whatever the error was, and give a status code of 400, which is essentially saying, hey, something's gone wrong. The bad thing happened. Oh no. Okay, so I think all things being equal, we're actually at a point now where we might be able to try this out, which is concerning, because what if I got it wrong? Now, first thing we're going to do is go Python main.py, because that's what I called it, and we're going to see our first error. And, oh, that's a nice easy one, so we're just going to jump over here. I forgot a colon. In Python, you obviously don't need to end every statement with a semicolon, so you've got to miss colons instead, because otherwise you feel like you're missing out on that coding lifestyle? I don't know. Words, they're tricky. That's why I do computers. Port equals 5000, not colon. Too many colons. I misplaced my colon. We'll run again. Success. Running 127.0.0.1, port 5000, so our local host 5000. Winner. Okay. Let's open up a new tab. So server's running over here. Over here. We're going to say, all right, let's go a little crazy here. All right. Let's make a curl command to make that API call. Curl http ://localhost 5000 to create payment intent endpoint. We are going to want our header to be content type application/JSON, and our data to just be making sure I get all the things done right. Amount 2000, which is in cents, which means $20. All right, that looks vaguely like it should work and do what I want it to do. Let's hit enter. All right, and we have our client secret back. So when I'm talking about, like, we're going to return the client secret, we return the client secret. We did it, folks. Give yourselves a pat on the back if you've made it this far. Also, give me a like, because I only got 2 errors in the last thing. I think it was 2. Maybe I'm bad at counting as well. And don't forget to subscribe. Next up, things are getting serious. We're going to look at how we can handle webhooks. We're going to use Stripes CLI. So I might do a download or another video on how to get Stripes CLI set up. But for right now, Stripes CLI is how we will set up a forwarder so that the internet can talk to us You could use Nginx or something, but Stripe's pre-built some tools. We're working with Stripe SDK. Why not go full Stripe, right? So when does a webhook come into things? We're creating a payment intent. We're getting back a secret key. The front end is actually going to take the payment for us. It's going to use that secret key. So when it reaches out to Stripe and goes, hey, here's the actual payment going through, because Stripe's checkout process, one of the main ones, is all Stripe self-hosted, which is one of the benefits. You don't need to worry about PCI compliance. And then Stripe lets you know with a webhook to say, hey, this payment intent you made, that's been updated. Mission accomplished. So we want to see mission accomplished. That's the good news that makes us feel special and feel like everything's going right in the world. So let's set up our Stripe CLI. So we will go Stripe, login, and I will click the link. And you can't see it, but I'm clicking allow access on the pop-up. Access granted. Bada bing, bada boom. We are done. We are now logged in as ourselves in Stripe CLI. Now, we want to start listening for webhooks, right? So, how do we do that? We say, Stripe, would you listen and forward what you hear to localhost 5000/webhook. All right. And it's going to say, what are you talking about? That's not a valid command. And we'll re-look at what we've asked it to do and realize that we put a space after that hyphen. We'll try again, and then it's going to work. So we're going to grab this value, which should be blurred for you, hopefully. And we're going to put that in our environment file, which should also hopefully be blurred for you. Not for me, thankfully. I can see clearly now the blur has gone. Stripe underscore webhook underscore secret equals, and then we're going to drop in that value. So now we're good for our webhook secret so that we can know, hey, Stripe, that really you? And Stripe will be like, yep. We'll do it from over here this time. And we'll say Stripe trigger payment underscore intent succeeded. Hit enter. It's been fired. What's happened over here? Webhook 404. We're gonna restart our server after we built our brand new fancy pants extra function and route. Let's try it again. All right, that's been sent across, and we have a wall full of errors. Type errors. Oh. I think I worked it out, or at least part of it. We're returning code, but not a message. We don't need to return a message. Let's give that another crack. All right. More success or less success? Equally unsuccessful. But I do think that was part of our issue. I didn't restart the server again. Bye-bye. I'm back. All right, actually, you know what we're gonna do? Clear to get rid of some of the noise. Run it again, and then run our webhook again, or our trigger for a webhook again. The happy thing happened. We have seen our webhooks come in successfully. Why so many? I'm guessing that because we weren't acknowledging the previous webhooks. It's on a retry mechanism. And now we've received the retries and gone back going, hey, 200, we're all good here. Don't sweat it. So yeah, as it turns out, giant wall of scary errors was this. So good news, we got that solved. Nailed it. All right, so if you followed along this far, you survived. Congratulations, there you have it. You have made a full Stripe payment intent. You have handled webhooks. Now understand a bit more about the payment intent API. You understand webhook forwarding with Stripe CLI. You know how to do webhook verification with Flask. And a real world app, now what you'd look at doing is connecting the front end to collect some payments and complete the flow yourself. But I think that's a topic for another video for us to look into. So look, I hope this has helped. Make sure you like, you subscribe. If you want to keep up to date very intensely, click the little bell icon. Thank you for coding along with me. And until next time, have a good one.